So is Amazon actually dead? Is it too competitive? What is it? And obviously I'm making a video on this, so I could be biased on this. So what I want to do is look at the straight facts and what they mean. And what I've tried to do is piece together all the relevant information, everything that matters when it comes to if you want to start selling on Amazon. Is it still worth it? Is Amazon FBA dead? So I've gathered all the facts. I'm going to tell you what I think they mean, and you can form your own opinion. Obviously, if someone's making a video, someone like myself who has a course on it, I would be biased. So what I've done is I've tried to throw all bias out the window and just present the facts, and you guys can make your own opinion because some of these are really interesting. So the first thing I want to look at is the Amazon marketplace, the marketplace in general. So the total revenue, let's just look at that first. So Amazon's revenue, and I'm looking at a screen here with all of this data, and it's from reputable sources like Statista. So the first thing is the marketplace. So Amazon revenue, the revenue from 2004 to now has grown every single year. If you look back in 2018, it was 232 billion. 2019, the end of it, it was 280 billion. And in 2020, it's still rising and is on scale to beat that. So the revenue with Amazon, the sales are there. Now, if the sales are just there, it depends if those sales are going to huge brands, if they're going to Amazon themselves, because Amazon has products, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So the revenue is continually growing and rising. So that means more products are being sold, or products are being sold at a higher price, which is a good thing. The next thing we need to look at is the Amazon Prime memberships. So the revenue could be going up, but how many people are actually part of Amazon Prime, which if you don't know, it's 2-day free shipping. You pay $100 a year, I think. So the Prime memberships have grown from 2014 all the way to 2020 every single year. No dips or anything, just continued to grow. In the start of 2019, it was at about 100 million Prime memberships. At the end of 2019, it's at 112 million. So that's about that's 12% growth right there. So the Prime memberships, there's more people coming into Amazon and still using that service and buying more products. So that is a plus. So that's kind of the marketplace. Now, the next thing we should look at is the competition, because this is the biggest thing people talk about when, oh, is Amazon too competitive? We need to look at, are we competing against Amazon? Are we competing against big brands? Or are there just so many sellers in the market that there's not enough room left? So first thing is Amazon versus third-party sellers. And one of the things with competing with Amazon, obviously it's their platform, they're going to have some products. So over 53% of revenue on Amazon comes from third-party sellers. So like you, like me, if you're doing FBA, private labeling, 53% of the total revenue would come from that. But one of the things to keep in mind is Amazon's products are normally very, very competitive products. They're Amazon. They're not going to go after products that you or I would go after, because we're not going after things that sell millions or tens of millions a year in revenue, because those are very, very difficult to rank and to kind of compete with, because you're competing with brands that have huge budgets. And that's what Amazon goes after, the Amazon Basics brand. They sell batteries and other things, and they compete with very, very big brands, but they're not going to they're not going to sell the same things you and I would sell or would want to sell. So that is not something I would really worry about. And you can kind of see from the revenue. So 53% of the revenue comes from third-party sellers. So Amazon gets about half. But then if you look at the total number of products here, so when you're competing with Amazon, Amazon sells over 12 million different products, but that's less than 10% of the total products sold on Amazon. There's over 115 million different products sold on Amazon. So the total kind of market capture per product, like I said, the ones they sell are very, very popular products you and I would not be selling, most likely, unless you have a very, very large budget. And it would cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to rank for a product like that, that is going to make millions or tens of millions per year. So if you look at it like this, they sell less than 10% of products, and they're going after getting a ton of revenue. So those are the more competitive products. So that is the competition with Amazon. Now, how about how many new sellers there are? So this is new US sellers. So total new US sellers in 2019. So there was 149,000 new sellers in 2019 for Amazon. And that brought the total to 460,000 sellers. So this is a good increase. It's a pretty big number. However, this number has been increasing a lot, and it's not a lot, but it's continually grown, obviously, with how big Amazon is. And if you compare you'll see in a little bit the number of products people have and whatnot to the total revenue, it's not anything crazy where it's like, oh, it's too competitive now. So let me get to the next number. So new sellers, 149,000 new sellers in 2019. And that number will probably increase in 2020 as well, especially with the pandemic. And that brought the total new US sellers. Now total sellers, if you're talking all marketplaces, is over 2.5 million active sellers. So sellers who have a product listed. But the US sellers, the amount is 460,000 in total. Now, one thing I thought was really interesting was it doesn't matter how many sellers there are. Some people, the majority, I'd say 95% of sellers are people who have no idea, wouldn't be watching a video like this, probably just listed a product, had no idea what they were doing, weren't informed. So a lot of that data you have to take it with a grain of salt, in my opinion. So looking at something like this actually shows what is going on with Amazon. And I think this right here is the #1 best statistic to be able to tell if Amazon's worth it. And that is sellers making over $100,000 per year on Amazon. Now, granted, this is sales, not profit. Keep that in mind. So sellers with over 100,000 in sales. And keep in mind, I said there was 2.5 million sellers on Amazon with a product listed. Now, there's about 9 million seller accounts, but a lot of those don't have a product and those were just created and never sold. So those 2.5 million sellers. In 2018, there was 200,000 Amazon Amazon sellers who made over $100,000. And then in 2019, that number jumped up to 225,000 sellers making over $100,000 per year on Amazon. And over 25,000 made over $1 million. So if you compare 225,000 to the 2.5 million sellers, that's about 10% of the Amazon sellers make over $100,000 per year on Amazon. And I think that by far is the best statistic to look at when figuring out if Amazon is too competitive or dead or still worth it. So take that for what you want. Let's move on to the next thing. And we're going to talk about the profitability about selling on Amazon. Great, we're getting sales, we're hitting 100K, but you can get 100K in sales and be negative if you're spending a ton on ads, if products are too expensive, and so on. So let's talk about some stats about the profitability about selling on Amazon. So 86% of Amazon sellers are profitable of those active 2.5 million total sellers. 67% of Amazon sellers are profitable within their first year of selling. 61% of sellers say their Amazon profits increased during 2019. And this is a big one too, but this is just an opinion survey, and this could definitely be skewed data, but 92% of Amazon sellers are planning to continue to sell on Amazon in 2020. Meaning if they have a current product up, they are going to continue selling. And this is data from Amazon. Again, however they got this data, it could have been a survey. And if someone's not planning to sell on Amazon, they might not go to their seller dashboard and fill out a survey and answer this question. Amazon normally has little questions with 3 little bubbles where you can answer in your seller dashboard and Seller Central. And again, that could be skewed data. So I'd take that one with a grain of salt because 92% seems a little too high to be true to me. Again, this is from a reputable source. So let's move on. That is the profitability about selling on Amazon. Now, let's look at the average seller on Amazon because this data can be skewed by low lows, people selling 0, losing money, and this can be skewed by huge brands selling tens of millions. So let's look at kind of what the average seller is like. So the average monthly sales for an Amazon seller You have 15% under 500. You have 9% of sellers making $500 to $1,000. You have 22% from 1,000 to 5,000, 13% from 5,000 to 10,000, and then so on. So 15% from 10,000 to 25,000, and then the rest go on. So you can see that only 15% of Amazon sellers on average are selling under $500 per month. So this is pretty interesting to see what the average is. And this next stat, when you see how many products each person has, it kind of goes hand in hand with this. More products, more sales usually. So how long does it take to be profitable on Amazon? So fewer than 3 months. People said that is 22% of people said it took less than 3 months to be profitable. 22% said 3 to 6 months. 23% said 6 months to a year. 13% said 1 to 2 years. And the rest are 3% said more than 2 years, and the rest are I don't know or not profitable. So this is from kind of the startup to launching and going through everything. So you can see the majority of people, about half, said less than 6 months. And that's pretty much what I found to be the case. Usually first month is recouping that investment. Then you buy more inventory with what you've profited and you're kind of break even. And then you start to profit a couple months after 3 is usually what I found. So take that for what it is, and we'll move on to the next one. And I thought this was interesting too. What is the most common business model on Amazon? So you have a couple different models. You have private labeling, which is where you're creating your own brand, putting it on a product, and pretty much what I do, what I'm talking about. You have wholesaling, which is selling other people's products on Amazon under their listing. It's less profitable, but you can scale. So, and then there's retail arbitrage, which is you buy things online or in stores and resell them. So I'm going to combine retail and online there. And then you have a couple with drop shipping and handmade. You can see 71% of people said private label. And keep in mind, sellers could select multiple of these, which is why these percentages add up to over 100%. So 71% of people do private label. 26% of people did wholesale, 20 did retail arbitrage, 15 did online arbitrage, 8% drop shipping, 6% handmade. So let's move to the next part. The number of products. So this is the average Amazon seller. You can see 36% of sellers have 1 to 5 products, and I'd like to bet that the majority of those have 1 product. 6 to 10 products is 12%, 11 to 20 is 11%, 21 to 50, 10%, and so on. And then 15% have 250 plus products, and that's usually the wholesaling or retail arbitrage models that you'll see that with. So now let's move on to how much money do you actually need to start Amazon? So 17% of people said $0 to $500, 12% said $500 to $1,000, 13% $1,000 to $2,500, and you can see so on. And 21% of people said more than 10,000. Now, what I normally would say is it normally takes about 700 to 2,000. I feel comfortable around 1,000, 1,500. It will depend if you're launching more than one product, if you're launching a more expensive product, how competitive the product is, because then you have to spend more on your product launch and ads. But I've seen people launch with $0, getting money from PayPal lending. I've seen people launch with $400, only buying like 50 or 100 units. And that's not the way to do it, but it is possible. But it's not optimal by any means, and it's not what I would recommend. I normally say about $1,000 is comfortable. And you can see, again, these numbers might be skewed by what that person did. Some people might be saying more than 10,000 because they spent more than that because they could. Some people might be saying 0 because they're doing the drop shipping model or the wholesaling model. So it really depends on those models as well. So that is the average seller's money to start. And then how much time does it take to run this business? So 13% of sellers said fewer than 4 hours per week. And this is per week. So fewer than 4 hours, 24% said 4 to 10 hours, 20% said 11 to 20, and so on. And 6% said over 60 hours. It's taking over 60 hours, I think you're doing something wrong. But it's usually, I'd have to agree with the 24% here, usually 4 to 10 hours. It will depend if you're growing your business, if it's automated, what method you're doing. If you have 250 products, yeah, it's going to take you a lot of time, but that's why you learn to outsource different things and whatnot. So that is the time to manage your Amazon business. Now, from all of this data, I don't want to give you a straight up answer, but the answer I would give you would be no, Amazon's not dead. No, it's not too competitive, but it is rewarding sellers who are serious, who are learning exactly what to do, what works, and are in it for the long haul. Amazon has weeded out a lot of the less serious sellers who are just trying to make a quick buck here and then get out. Because Amazon is all about their customers and kind of that experience, they're going to put whatever products they think are best in front of them. Now, based off of the sales, the increase in sellers, how many sellers made over 100K per year, I personally would say Amazon, not too competitive. You do have to take it serious though. It is slightly different because most people will quit on something they try. The 1% are the ones that stick with it and do it. And you've seen from this how many sellers make over 100K per year. More than about 10% do. And you saw 25,000 sellers make over $1 million per year. And you saw all this data, and you can form your own opinion on this. But mine is Amazon is not too competitive. There's so many people still doing it, still making money, and it's still growing at an insane rate, especially with Amazon taking over so many kind of new niches and categories. It's just going to bring in more customers, and there's still a bunch of room for growth. As you've seen year over year, I had people telling me in 2013 or 2014 that Amazon was too competitive. It's not going to last. And then in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, and now 20. And you're going to hear it every single year, no matter what. And you're going to hear it with whatever it's talking about, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Shopify, whether it's affiliate marketing, whether it's Facebook ads. You're going to hear, oh, it's dying. Get out. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And that's usually the incorrect thing, because if something happened once, people think, oh, it's done. That's all. But Amazon, the biggest company in the world, I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon. So I still think this is an amazing opportunity. And like I said, I tried to present the facts in a non-biased way so you can make your own opinion and see, okay, this is this information. What does this mean? So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what video you want to see next.